So we're touching in again for Bitcoin on the weekly now, looking at the big time frames. In fact, we can even have a quick look at the monthly to see, yes, exactly. We are potentially holding support here on the 21 monthly. We have a wick pushing away from it, and now we have an inside bar forming. Really not much else to be said about that, other than that we had a nice bounce from the 50, smashed through the 21, so we might expect some bounce here, maybe coming up to 9.2k or so, but really not a lot of confluence there. If you draw a support line here, it won't find support there, and just for the heck of it, I can draw it here. You can see that we may find support down at 5,000 region, but the 21 moving average alone is not enough to tell us anything. This is looking like it might cross bearish, the convergence of these lines here. Not a good sign. Things are ticking down. So really nothing very positive to be said for the monthly in terms of bulls. For the weekly, we have this ticking up, and then we had these 3 weeks now, which have really sort of brought us back down. We're still very bearish in terms of the MACD. RSI, not too much to be said here. Lower lows, lower highs. We made this entry at the convergence of these two diagonal support lines, which coincided with the EMA, with the moving average 150, which was about here, as you can see. These two lines, but there's not yet enough evidence to say that we're going to shoot all the way up here. And I already took my profit on the position because it was quite a solid profit, and because we had crossed an important structural support on the 4-hour. But looking again on the weekly, well, yeah, again, we do have this major sort of potential support here, which I mentioned before, around 6,500. But that's all it is. It's potential, and all that means is that we entered for a profit, and now we can't be getting too greedy and just expecting or hoping this will just start smashing through all the other moving averages. We're well below the 21 moving average, so really nothing on the weekly shouting to us that we should get into a long position just yet. That being said, I will be looking for a long entry if we start showing some signs of bullish action. So this is the moving average. We tested it and resisted from it quite intensely with this wick. This is why I'm leaning more towards bearish than bullish for the preceding price action. Right now we're looking at the moving averages. We can also look at the EMAs, and it's exactly the same story, where we're well below all the major EMAs and also resisting from the 21 most recently. We have this big volume candle here showing that resistance. The MACD is actually crossed bullish here, which is interesting. That's sort of the first sign of some potential change here, and we have the MACD ticking up here. So the bulls do have a chance to take this back from the bears, but I think that in order to confirm that, they would really have to cross this 21 moving average and get to sort of 8,000 region. Now in terms of these resistances, well, we had this resistance from up here, and crossing this would be a start. Then we have this one where we had the 3 touches, and it's a bit vague, these ones. I mean, we basically broke that already, didn't we? And you could really argue that this is the new resistance. So I'm gonna just take these out, to be honest, because I don't think they're all that noteworthy. We do have this sort of down-sloping line here showing sort of how bearish things are, and now potentially a move to start getting a bit more bullish if we can cross this line. And this is also a downward sloping triangle, although we don't really have many touches on either side. 1, 2 here, and sort of 2 here. So now let's go to the 4-hour and see if we're above the 21. we're flirting with the 21, and we're not. Well, to be fair, we are actually above it here, and we're still in this sort of downward sloping pullback. And I got out when we broke this potential support over here. So we broke it, we came down lower, to favor the bulls, we are now bouncing off of what is the 618. So that is a notable bouncing point. I decided I didn't want to sell here because it would mean I would have to take away so much of my potential profit. So I sold a little bit lower. I think it made sense with the information at hand before. We had this sort of quite strong bearish action, and yeah, things just weren't looking that great. And now we had one push above the 21 and the 55, came right back down, came as if it was nothing. But now we're pushing up again, and this raises the question, well, if we break through the 21 moving average with a few more, I mean, we have already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles above the 21. So, but you know, the 4-hour trend chain isn't bullish in any way whatsoever. We have a high, low, lower high, higher low. Because of this crazy action here, it's just really hard to predict which direction the market's going to move in next. I mean, if you were to say, okay, well, we have some moves above the 21, so now we want to enter long, you know, we would potentially have a good risk to reward, assuming this is the next level to get in at. But there's just not enough price action here to tell us that we are really going to make that move. It's been so volatile recently that I don't think that there's much to be said for entering along here. Maybe if we have another big bullish candle like this one, you know, where we stay well above the 21 and the 55 here as well, obviously. And of course, it would be nice if we closed and had a candle or two above the 100 moving average. Then you could start saying, okay, maybe we really will be heading for another move up to sort of higher 8,000 levels. And if that is the case, then we would be looking really at this type of move to see for a one-to-one extension up at, yeah, that's right, 8,400 type of levels. But until we have a few candle closes above the 100, really, I'm not too excited for entering any positions here whatsoever. The 4-hour MACD is, we had a cross bullish, came down, touched, found support. That's nice, it's looking good. We don't have a higher high here yet, but we are sort of slowly moving up. High, low, again, similar to the price action. We don't have higher highs, higher lows here yet, so really we'll be playing with fire to enter a position here. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. I don't think it's worth looking at any lower time frames. If we have a look at Ethereum, 1 week is probably going to be looking pretty damn bearish. Let's have a look. Yeah, we're well below all the moving averages, resisting quite heavily, quite clearly from the 21, broke this previous support. Now we're finding resistance there. Definitely nothing bullish about this. And the MACD is still very much bearish. We had a small chance at coming up here, but we just started coming down again. So starting ticking down again. So really nothing to be excited about here. On the weekly, looking very bearish. On the daily, let's see if, like Bitcoin, this is crossed bullish. No, it hasn't. It's really just on the crisp here, on the cusp here, on the cusp of doing something. But really, it's just been no clear trend for the daily for a while now. All we can say is that we had this previous support, resistance rather, now turned support, now turned to resistance. We resisted from it once. You know, if anything, really, this might provide a short opportunity if we reach the 21 again. I mean, not again, we didn't really reach it here, but if we reach it again over here, we might consider entering short at this sort of resistance. But yeah, it's pretty damn bearish. Nothing to be said for the bulls here. Okay, you know, we did have the breakout of this, and we are now potentially finding support here, but this bounce is looks much more like a dead cat bounce, like it's really just not going to do much. There's not much volume. It's already started retracing without much of a big move in the first place. So nothing really much to be said for that, and we really can't be bullish until we cross previous major highs, which are over here. So I think that's pretty much it for today's analysis. Getting tired. Okay, tuning out.